I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of.
Everybody, welcome to another edition of the BOOM, the Boom. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here tonight with Phil. Phil, how you doing, man? Different vibe tonight, me and you running the show.
Yeah, why not? You know, we gotta do what we gotta do. At the end of the day, we're here to bring you guys the content, and that's what we aim to do each and every single Wednesday. Yeah, man, today's been good. Just got home about an hour ago doing some errands around the house, and now we are just here to talk professional wrestling all in. Let's do this thing. We got a huge weekend coming up for us in terms of just wrestling content creation as a whole. So let's get it done.
A lot of pro wrestling this weekend. We got AEW All In on Saturday. We got Saturday night's main event. We got Evolution on Sunday. We got NXT's event on Saturday or Sunday.
It's Saturday. It's three events on Saturday alone.
It's nuts. And then we got TNA Slammiversary next weekend.
On Friday. Yeah, next Friday.
Dude, I'll say this. It is a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. At the same time, and you know how much I love professional wrestling. Yeah. So I'm going to say this with the biggest grain of salt I can ever say this with. It is a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. At the same time, it's not, because of negativity. The negativity the past week that I've been seeing across the board in the IWC has just been ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous, man. Like content creators that are getting attacked for something they said or you know, their opinions, whatever. I mean, I'll say this, Phil. I have my feelings for certain opinions, but at the same time, I respect people's opinions, right? Okay. I'm going to be 39 on Monday. My birthday's coming up. I'm getting older. So the filter is kind of starting to wear off a little bit. You know what I mean? The older you get, the filter kind of dies away. Yeah. But I am in control of my emotions when I hear somebody's, because you want to try and have that stable conversation, which I'm good at having. I'm great at having stable conversations about professional wrestling. But when you see somebody say some outlandish bullshit, it's like, come on now, be realistic. Like, really? Like, really?
Yeah, I see it all the time. For sure.
And it's like you just got to hold your tongue because you don't want to start anything, you know, because you have, and Phil, I'm sure you can attest to this, you have some people that put their opinions out there, and it's like, it's either it's their opinion or no opinion at all.
Right.
They're right. You're wrong. Or they're right all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold the door. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. But if you're not going to respect my opinion like I'm respecting your opinion, then, you know.
And what's the point of the conversation at the end of the day?
What's the point of this conversation? Exactly. Yeah. But we are here for the Boom. We're going to make our all-in predictions happening this Saturday out in Texas. Right now, 20,000 tickets. Last week, it was reported that 19,000 tickets. They sold another 1,000, so they're up to 20, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this before we get into talking about the matches and before we get into making our predictions for who we think is gonna win. I will say this: it's a big stadium. It seats about 52,000 people. They got 20,000 in there. I hope that one of those 20,000 fans, I hope none of those 20,000 fans go in there and take a picture and be like, "Oh, it's half empty in here." You know, that traditional picture that people like to post when they go in and see half empty things. I think AEW is going to do a great job this Saturday with this pay-per-view, even with having 20,000 fans. That they are going to blow the roof off, or whatever roof they have in that stadium off. You know, and hats off to AEW because this is their largest crowd in America.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, I believe their record right now is like 17,000 and some change in America. They're going to break that record on Saturday.
What was the first ever Grand Slam?
That was, I think, 18. I think that was 18 or 19,000. And I think that was the record.
Okay.
I believe.
Because I feel like at first, like the Grand Slam event, like the first ever Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe is like the biggest crowd that AEW had for their. Actually, no, it was 20,177. I just looked it up. So yeah, I mean the fact, and that was at Arthur Ashe Stadium. That was Kenny and Brian kicking off the show, and then Britt Baker and Ruby Soho for the women's world title in the main event. That show was awesome. First of all, it's just being live for that, being in the arena for that. But that was the attendance.
20,100 and some odd, correct?
In 77, yeah.
Okay. This was updated 2 days ago. I'm trying to think here. See here.
I got WrestleTix from.
That's what I'm looking at too. So yesterday. Yeah, so 22 hours ago, WrestleTix, they currently have sold 21,557 tickets for AEW's.
So they got it.
They broke it.
They beat it.
They broke their own record,
and that's great for them because at the end of the day, when it comes down to not only just this type of market for Arlington, Texas, but and just in terms of like how the product is really being perceived right now, a lot of people are kind of getting back into AEW right now, in terms of like kind of like a feeling going on around from what I see, in terms of like just who I interact with, and I'm like, it's great that you guys are getting back into the product, but at the end of the day, it's really just kind of what you want to see out of it. I mean, there are definitely still some things to improve. That no company is perfect, and at the end of the day, I'm not thinking that WWE is perfect or AEW is perfect. Everybody has stuff to work on. But if you're continuing to get fans' interest back within your product, to me, that's all you care about, and we can kind of just work things as we go along. But 21,000 in a capacity of like what they're probably going to try to do, like in like the whole grand scheme of things, 20 to 25,000 to me would have been a perfect crowd for this show, and they're in that ballpark, so I'm okay with it.
And you know what? This might actually be most of what this stadium gets filled this year, because the Rangers right now, they're 45-47. In the last week before the All-Star break, they are way down. Like, they are third place in the American League West. And you can get a Texas Rangers ticket as low as $27.
Yeah.
You can get an AEW All-In ticket for as low as $20. So I just really hope we don't get that negativity of, oh, they're half empty. They only filled 21,000 seats. Who cares? They filled half the stadium. I actually looked, it's 42,000 seats. They filled half the stadium.
Yeah.
As long as the show looks good, it sounds good, and we know we're going to get great wrestling, who cares if there's 10 people in that stadium? Who gives a shit?
And with the staging and the actual setup of the ramp and the ring area and all of that stuff, I mean, of course, things were going to be blocked off. I mean, it was obvious, that's just how it is with any professional wrestling show in an arena, in a stadium, what have you. So, I mean, of course, things are going to be blocked off, but you're getting 20,000 plus in a stadium. To me, you did your job. And now it's just up to AEW to continue to bump up that product, continue to let fans be interested in what they are trying to show. And if the ratings go up, if tickets continue to go up higher for these crowds and everything like that, good for them. And I'm proud of it.
Sorry, give me 1 second here.
I get it.
Sorry. Somebody came to my door and they know I'm live. Always happens. Jeez.
I get it.
All right. So let's
it's going to be great. 100%.
I was trying to find a picture of the setup for All In and the stage setup and everything like that. And I couldn't find one. So, but again, I just, just hearing the negativity coming around from the IWC this past week with not only with AEW, but just a lot of the other things. It's like, you know what? This is a great time to be a pro wrestling fan. Just enjoy what we got. Because, 4 or 5 years ago, before AEW came along 6 years ago, we didn't have this. During the McMahon era in WWE, we didn't have this. Just, enjoy it. Yeah, there's going to be some stuff you don't like, but the good does outbeat the bad.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Years ago, we were asking for more professional wrestling out there in the world, not just having WWE as monopoly, just anywhere. I mean, a lot of people just really wanted to see more professional wrestling outside of the WWE. And now, I mean, this weekend is literally just proof behind it. I mean, when you have Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, NXT, AEW, TNA. Sometimes you can even argue that there's maybe even too much in the world of professional wrestling right now. But at the end of the day, you enjoy what you want to enjoy. You watch what you want to watch, and say your opinions. That's not like. Here's the thing: when it comes down to me, you can have opinions about anything in the world of professional wrestling, but as long as you're staying civil and as long as you're staying, within the confines of actually, trying to have a conversation instead of just yelling at somebody, then we're all good. Let's just have fun. Let's watch professional wrestling. Let's talk about it and have a good time. But yeah, I agree with you, man. The IWC, in just terms of everything, it's gone crazy.
And that's the thing is we all have ones that we follow, ones that we listen to, ones that we pay attention to, ones that we interact with. As far as content creators that are professional wrestling fans and creating pro wrestling content, we all have, again, ones that we interact with, ones that we follow, ones that we watch, listen to, all that, and there's some that you like and dislike and all that stuff, and then there's some that have that whole thing of I'm right and that's it,
right?
It's still respecting opinions, because opinions at the end of the day are just opinions. They're not facts. They're not right. They're not wrong. They're just facts. They're your opinion, your thought at the end of the day. There's nitpicking and there's criticism because you want the product to be better. Exactly. There is. Yeah. There's always nitpicking. There's always criticism because we want the product to be better. And you look at WWE, and I know we're getting a little off course here, and we got into a totally different conversation, but we are going to make our all-in predictions. We're going to talk all in. We got some time here. We're going to talk all in. But I think this is a good thing to talk about at the moment. There is nitpicking. There is, criticism and everything because you want the product to be better. You always want the product to be better. For example, the criticism that Monday night with Seth Rollins and his group, did they go anywhere as far as storylining with what they did on Monday night at the start of that show? No, they just went out, made their point, what they were going to do Monday night, and then the end of the show, they got to where they had to get to. That was it. But that segment right there, is getting nitpicked and criticized. And it's like, you know, was it great? No. Was it good? Probably not. Were there some funny parts like Braun Breaker stealing the microphone from Seth Rollins? Yeah, there was. But
Just
at the end of the day,
all over the place, yeah.
at the end of the day, they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. Now they have to go in and give us something good. And the matches that were given to us were not half bad. Not half bad. So did in their eyes, they won. In the fans' eyes, half people are saying yes, half the people are saying no.
Yeah.
You know, AEW, and again, we're talking AEW. You know, there's a lot of nitpicking about AEW. You know, we started early tonight because we had a bad feeling about Dynamite tonight. We did. We'll be honest. We had a bad feeling about Dynamite tonight. Why not just come on here, talk all in, and you know, that be that? Why? Because this is a go home show tonight. Is this show tonight gonna make any matter towards all in? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we get a match added. Maybe we get, you know, storylines, you know, pushed forward to go into Saturday. But the question is anything new going to develop with the said storylines? Can they go any further with said storylines going into Saturday? No, right. Because we're 72 hours away from the show. So what more advancement are they going to make? Like what I don't like about the IWC is that they are impatient or just flat out have bad takes. Yeah. Yes.
The patience is definitely something that people do not have nowadays. And yes, I understand that, you know, like instant gratification can be one of the worst things that you could ever want, especially in the world of professional wrestling, because I mean, yeah, like you want to see what happens. Like you want to see what happens and like the end goal of everything. But there's a destination you want to get to, yes, but where's the journey?
Yeah,
what's the fun of the journey if you just want to get there already? So like, it's just the patience.
Perfect example is, you know, the best example that we can use in this is the Bloodline storyline. How long did the Bloodline storyline go? It went for 3.5 years. Yeah. And everybody after year number 1 was like, let's get to the end of this thing. Why? Those
years of Roman Reigns' title run, though exhausting at times, it really was something to really kind of behold, because you see the genesis of it, you see the beginning of it, you go throughout this entire time of seeing Roman hold the championship for 1,316 days up until the point where we finally get to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I was in attendance. I know many other people were in attendance. Many of my friends were in attendance. And they were so interested in seeing what the heck is going to happen in Bloodline Rules. Yeah. How is it all going to play out? What are my feelings heading into all of this? Because they knew how much of a big fan I am of Cody Rhodes, and seeing where, like, hopefully Cody Rhodes could finally finish the story after a 2-year story of him being back in WWE, and now he's here at the world title match again after failing the last year. It was such a great moment seeing Cody Rhodes finally hit that 3 count, finally winning the title.
Yeah. It was emotional.
And it was so good.
It was emotional.
It was fantastic. So I mean,
I cried. I shed a tear when that happened.
I was on the verge of it for sure. But I mean, I'm just saying, in terms of like how we got there from the beginning of everything to where we are now, or even like now, sure, because I mean, we're still trying to wait for a Roman Reigns return. They're still doing Bloodline stuff. The Bloodline is always going to be a thing in the confines of WWE. It's just a matter of how far they want to go.
Here's the thing: is if we all lived, let's just, for all intents and purposes, let's say we all lived back in the 80s. What do you think we would get? Long-term storytelling and booking. Why? Yeah. Because the territories are around. Perfect example. And here's the thing: is I'm just throwing these names out there. This isn't true fact. And if this is true fact, then hey, I hit the nail on the head without even fully fucking knowing it. But let's take Ric Flair, for example. Ric Flair, let's say he was in Georgia Championship Wrestling for 3 weeks. Okay. But then he had obligations over in, let's say Puerto Rico. Okay. and he had to be in Puerto Rico for 6 weeks. Okay. His storyline in Georgia Championship Wrestling for those 3 weeks is going to continue at some point when he comes back from Puerto Rico. Long-term storytelling. I want to ask you this question. Okay. This is current day and age. Cam also said AEW is a prime example. I haven't been fully invested in their programming in 10 months or so. He's kind of just numb to watching it anymore. I mean, and again, that's just the point. That's just the point of going live early tonight and just doing our all-in predictions. Why? Because we do not feel like Dynamite is going to be a hit show tonight. And by all means, if they hit tonight, great. Awesome. Congratulations. Proud of them. AEW, let's go with the current right now. Okay. Jon Moxley is the AEW World Champion right now. He's been champion for going on 9 months. 9 months. He'll be actually 9 months to the day on Saturday. Yeah. Right? Would you feel different about Jon Moxley if you've seen the World Championship? Would you feel a little more different about him being World Champion if you've seen the title?
To me, seeing the championship is everything. I know not a lot of people I have some friends within the community that are like, Phil, I don't understand why it's so important to you to see the championship, but it is, because at the end of the day, that is your bread and butter. That is the mark of the company. Title. And it's the world title. It realistically should be seen on television. If you don't want to show it every single week and have the champion be in something every single week, that's okay. But as long as you're showing the championship every once in a while, that's fine for me. But yeah, I probably would have had a little bit more of a different taste in my mouth with the championship at least being on television. Yeah, sure. The Death Rider storyline has gone through a never-ending vortex of like seeing the same stuff over and over again. But I mean, Jon Moxley, whether you like him or whether you don't, at this stage of his career, he's not only just a future piece of this company, but he's been the guy within the company, like one of the aces of the company ever since he stepped foot into the doors of AEW. I mean, he to me is a legitimate AEW original. I understand that he is an AEW original to me. To deem him a past WWE guy, I get it. And I'm sorry for cutting you off. No, to deem him a WWE guy, I get it. He came from WWE, but he's been there since the doors opened in AEW. Yeah. He's been there since Double or Nothing back in 2019 or 2018, 2019 when the first Double or Nothing, 19. I think 19, yeah.
It was 19 because they had Double or Nothing, then they had All In and Fight for the Fallen, Fyter Fest, all that, and then it led up to the first Dynamite in October. So he's been there since the doors opened.
I consider him more an AEW guy than a WWE guy at this stage.
Oh, he's accomplished so much more.
So much more. Yeah. So I mean, much more. At the end of the day, it's just a matter Jon Moxley to me is always going to be a standout within the world of AEW. It's the Death Rider story. I mean, if it wasn't just a vortex of never ending and just repeating itself over and over again, I definitely would have had a different tone.
So there is a certain content creator out there. I'm not going to name any names. But there was one out there that posted a video a few weeks ago. Well, I'll say months ago. It was about a month and a half ago, saying that the whole Death Rider storyline has been great. And my big question is what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Because this storyline has been nothing but crap. Cam knows who. Cam does know who. And I'm like, what are you seeing? And I didn't comment. I didn't want to start nothing. I just said it in my head. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing as a fan? I've been a fan of this sport for 35 years. Okay. So, and I'm not saying that by all means, I'm not saying that I'm I know it all. I'm not sitting here saying that, making claims to anything. I'm just saying I can visually, I know the difference between things in professional wrestling. I'm educated as a fan, right? Yeah. So I'm sitting there thinking what are you seeing? And I wanted to ask that. But at the same time, I had that feeling of me asking that, I feel like I was going to, just an argument was going to break out. And I didn't want to get in the middle of that.
Yeah.
If I would have known that, you know, a good conversation was going to come from it, or a point was going to be made of why the storyline was good, then I would have approached it. But I'm like, no, I'm not touching it. It is what it is. I wanted to, but at the same time, the only thing that's really sitting in my mind of what's missing from this storyline for that could be making it a little better is the fact that the world title's not being shown. That world title means everything. That is your bread and butter, like you said. That's your company. That's your representation of your top guy. Women's world title, top woman. You know, so, but I don't know. But going back real quick to the impatience, it's just that I tell people all the time, like, be patient. Be patient with these storylines, because pro wrestling is starting to get back to the point where we're getting long-term booking. We're getting stories opposed to back in the day where you had, you know, WWE did this before AEW was around. WWE used to do this for a while. You would have somebody challenge for the world title, and then they lost, and then there'd be a new challenger the next month. There was no, you know, going back to the days where a guy would have 3 or 4 pay-per-view matches in a row for the world title challenging.
Right, yeah.
You know, now we're getting back to that. Now we're getting to the point where you're seeing the same challenger for 2 or 3 pay-per-views in a row. You're getting that storytelling, that long-term storytelling. Embrace it. I get it. We're in the instant gratification age of things. You know, radio show I listen to every day was asking this question today. You know, what would you deem this era of wrestling? You know what I would deem it? I would deem it the DM era. The DM era. The digital media era.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what I would deem it. The digital media era. Why? Because if your video is no less than 30 seconds long, you lost the attention of 90% of your viewers. If you are not catching the attention of said viewers in your first 7 seconds of your video, they're gone. That's why I call this the DM era, the digital media era of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's either going to thrive the business or it's going to hurt the business. Right now, it's split down the middle. It's split down the middle because it's a fairly new era.
Yeah.
It's all about how fans are going to start reacting going into, you know, we're in the middle of the 2020s now. It's 2025. The second half of the 2020s is really going to determine what this era is really going to be about in professional wrestling. Cam said, I want solo Mox again. Now I'll admit sometimes, especially nowadays, I'm like, okay, I'm tired of waiting. I would have deemed it the GG era, but WWE fired her. Okay. I get it. I get what you're saying. So let's get into All In.
I miss it.
Let's talk some All In. We spent 30 minutes talking about everything. I mean, sometimes you got to do this. Sometimes you just got to get these things off your chest as a fan and just have these conversations. You do. Sometimes we do. So no need to apologize, Cam. Never apologize. Never. Because, you know, having these conversations, this is what we're here to do. You know, we're here to do this, Cam. You know that. This is what we're here to do, brother.
It's all good
we're here to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, no need to apologize whatsoever. And if you would deem it the GG era, so be it. Deem it the GG era. If you still want to deem it the GG era, you're a fan. You're your own mind. You have your own opinion. And if you're going to call it the GG era, so be it. I'll accept it.
And I miss her. I'll tell you that right now. I miss her on NXT. I think she was awesome, but we'll see how
today
she
was
does elsewhere.
Today was mentally exhausting. Y'all are getting me fired up. Well, at least we're getting you fired. Dude, I'm exhausted too. Today was just oh my god. Today was a nut
It was
day.
a tiring day.
I'm ready. I'm ready to just like chill out and just game. That's it.
Yeah.
Watch a movie, eat dinner, you know, just chill out. Let's get an AEW All In. All In happening in Texas this Saturday, I believe 2 p.m. start time. So AEW put out a post this past week of how things are going to happen in Texas. Doors are opening at 11:30. Pre-show is starting at 12, and then first main card match is happening at 2 p.m. Now, I think
so
that's
a 2
their
p.m. start time.
Yeah. So I thought it was Texas time because in some parts of most parts of Texas, they're an hour behind the East Coast. But in their case, they're in the same time zone. So it's 2 p.m. there. That's that. But let's get into it. First match we'll talk about. Let's start with these battle royals. We got the women's casino battle royal happening. Got a couple competitors, but if you had to pick one person to win this battle royal, Phil, who would it be? I just want to toss out. Cam did give me his predictions to shout out real quick. So he picked Willow Nightingale to win this battle royal. Who do you got for the women's casino battle royal?
My top 2 picks are either Chris Statlander or Megan Bain, but I'm going to go with Chris Statlander to win it all.
Okay. Do you have any reason why you're picking Chris?
Mainly because with everything that's happening right now, I've seen a lot of stuff that's happening with Chris and the whole Death Rider stuff that's happening. And not to really just completely go off the rails for a second, but I think if they were going to do something with Chris Statlander and the Women's World Championship, I think, first of all, I think it would be a great spot for her. But if they were going to do something a little bit more of an edge towards Chris Statlander and just get her over, the upper echelon into where she could possibly be for the World Championship, this should be the spot to do it in.
Yeah.
Maybe you can, if Marina Shafir is somehow in this thing as well, you can have her kind of like help Chris Statlander in a way from time to time. Like if you're just doing something to like saving Chris Statlander here, saving Chris Statlander there. I know it's not like a battle royal type situation, but like save her from a pinfall, save her from doing something around here. Like try to get them to double team in a way. I don't know, but there's definitely going to be something to where Chris Statlander is going to have to choose if she's going to want to turn to that dark side and be a little bit more edgy or not. And I feel like this could be something where it can happen in that way.
Yeah, I'm going Chris Statlander too. I think it's time for them to really do something with Chris Statlander. I think they missed out on her plenty of times already. Yeah. I do. I think they missed so many opportunities to put her in a great position. I think this is the time to do it. And if they don't do it, then it's going to be time to move forward. It is. I mean, she's still fairly young I don't want to say fairly young to the industry, but AEW is young enough to where they can do something with her in the future. But I think her time, if anything, would be now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have so many, you got to think 2-3 years down the road, how many new superstars are going to come in? How many new women are going to come in that are going to overlap Chris Statlander? You've already had a few come in the likes of Deonna Purrazzo. A couple people came in already and overlapped her. Mercedes Moné is overlapping her. Look at the success that Mercedes is having.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, the time is now for Chris Statlander to get going, and winning this gauntlet would be the right move for them. The men's casino gauntlet. Who do you got in this one? Cam has MJF winning this one.
I got MJF as well.
Clean sweep on MJF. Yes.
Yeah. I just think you got to do it, man.
Yeah.
With MJF not really having like a complete spotlight on him in a singles type of match within AEW for All In this year, it's very interesting to see him not in that kind of spotlight, considering how much of a big star he truly is. I mean, at the end of the day, he may not be in the quote unquote upper echelon in storytelling right now in AEW, but I mean, he's still doing stuff with the Hurt Syndicate, and it's, whether you like it or not, it's still doing something. So I think at the end of the day, MJF just getting back into the upper echelon, getting back into the world title picture, to me is just the only thing that makes sense. And that's where he ultimately should be, because he is that damn good of a superstar, and he's one of the big pieces in the company, regardless of whoever you look at. So yeah.
Cam said Darby is a wild card because he heard some rumor. The rumors are flowing about Darby Allin making his return on Saturday. I can agree with that he'll be the wild card and he'll be in this match. If he's not in this match, then I don't know. Like, does he win it? maybe, but I think the hard favorite right now is MJF. It is.
Yeah.
And I'll say this right now, the success that he's having in this whole Hurt Syndicate story is amazing. Like weeks ago when this whole thing was happening, we're thinking, oh, it's only going to last a week. He's going to get attacked. We're going to get something between him and Bobby. But no, it didn't happen. Now he's in the Hurt Syndicate. Him and MVP are fucking joint to the hip, you know.
I thought for sure what was going to happen was that at some point earlier, before All In takes place, MJF was going to inadvertently cause Bobby and Shawn to tag team titles. Somebody would be the new tag team champions heading into All In, and then at All In it would have been Bobby versus MJF, because with everything that's happening between Bobby and how it took him so long to put that goddamn thumb up. I thought it was going to be something between those two for All In, and now they're still together. So I don't know.
They do. They got to restore MJF's importance on TV, because his importance right now, I mean, as successful as the Hurt Syndicate thing is going, it's also kind of a big freaking joke. Like it's a big joke. It is. I'm going to say this right now. MJF is my pick as well. Like I said, clean sweep with MJF. I'm also going with the Hurt Syndicate retaining the tag team titles in that triple threat match with Jet Speed and the Patriarchy. Now, Cam has Jet Speed. How do you feel about who do you got in this match, number one? And number two, how do you feel about the Patriarchy being added into this match?
It's very interesting to me seeing the, anarchy. The
anarchy.
What am I talking about? The patriarchy. The patriarchy in this match. Because, look, we don't normally talk about rumors or like what he says, she said around here all of the time, or even most of the time here. But like, I saw something going around to where they could possibly make some like father-son tag team championship type deal, which is like the reason why I feel like they're in this match just solely for the sake of that. But like, first of all, I have to say this. I'm going with Jet Speed to win the titles. But it's just very interesting to see the patriarchy, not the anarchy, in this tag team title match. To me, I think they literally just added them into this match, because if they're going to do like a traditional triple threat type style tag team where all three of them are in the ring at the same time,
like tornado style, but they have to tag in and out. Like one member from each team has to be in like a triple threat match, and like in order to bring your partner in, tag your partner in.
None of what the WWE does, where it's only two people in the ring and they can tag in anybody. Just do all three of them. Yeah, I just feel like the patriarchy is in this thing to get pinned, if anything. That's just where I stand, because I don't want to see Bobby or Shawn get pinned in this thing.
I mean, I'll say this. I did pick the Hurt Syndicate to win this. I think they get the clean sweep. MJF wins the gauntlet. Hurt Syndicate retains the tag team titles, because, Jet Speed and the Patriarchy. I mean, Jet Speed has problems with both groups right now.
Right.
And then you got Nick Wayne and Christian, who at small times have had their own little inner issues, but don't have their own inner issues. Like I just think the Hurt Syndicate walks out of this one retaining. I think the Hurt Syndicate just clean sweeps All In. I do. The success of this group right now is just mind-boggling. Just mind-boggling. It's ridiculous how successful this group is right now with the addition of MJF. It is. And I think that success continues.
Your whole stance on the whole thing with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate turned to a complete 180, because I remember early on with everything, I mean, we were all just, I'm not shitting on it, but we were like, what the heck is this? So like you kind of turned a whole 180 with that. I'm surprised.
Oh, with my point of view on it?
With your stance on MJF and the whole Hurt Syndicate situation. Yeah.
I still hated.
I know that. I'm just saying, but like with how much you're saying, like it has been a success so far.
It has been.
Yeah,
it's ridiculously successful, and let's just put it this way: they are literally using the term "turning chicken shit into chicken salad."
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. I mean, And if anybody disagrees with me, fine. But that's what they're doing. They're turning chicken shit into chicken salad. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Because the start of this thing was just a huge mess. It was. And it made no sense. Still makes no sense to this day. MJF stands out like a freaking sore thumb. Like,
yeah,
so,
I mean, that's always going to be the case. But I mean, yeah, I see your points. I do. But yeah, I truly thought we were going to get Bobby and MJF at All In solo wise,
I did
because
too.
it was just going to lead to that if the tag team titles were lost. But we're here, so there you are.
Tag team match: the Young Bucks take on Swerve and Ospreay. There's some stance in this match. There's a couple stipulations in this match. If the Young Bucks lose, then they lose their EVP status, and if the Ospreay and Swerve lose, then they cannot challenge for the World Championship. Either man can challenge for the World Championship for 1 calendar year. So from July 12th of 2025 to July 12th of 2026, they will not be able to challenge for the World's Heavyweight Championship. Your thoughts? Who do you think wins this one?
I'm going with Swerve and Ospreay. I think you gotta have these two in your world title picture throughout the year. I mean, I don't want these two to be taken out of the world title picture for an entire year. I mean, with everything that's happening with the world title situation right now, and I mean, obviously we'll get into it, but the world title scene without a Swerve Strickland and without a Will Ospreay, to me, it's not like a depleting world championship title division, but I mean, those two are your big names. Those two are like 1A and 1B in my eyes, and like those two, you literally have an entire story built in with either one of those two, with whoever may walk out as the AEW World Champion at the end of the day, whether that could be an MJF who could be the winner of the gauntlet, whether that be Hangman Adam Page, or whether that could be John Moxley. You got to have these two in your world title picture. So I'm going with them.
So Cam originally had the Young Bucks, but then he's mentioned in the chat he's changing his to Swerve and Ospreay because I believe he forgot about the stipulation. I did change it for you. I'm still saying the Young Bucks. Now, the Young Bucks, here's the thing, is the Young Bucks are legit EVPs. They've helped found the company. They're legit EVPs. So even if they lose this match, they're not going to lose their EVP status backstage. It's just going to be on TV, in storyline. That's that. Okay? I'm still going with the Young Bucks. I am. The reason why is because if you are going to go with the believability factor, right? You have the Young Bucks lose, they lose their EVP status, which means people are going to want to see the believability of, okay, then they shouldn't be EVPs at all. Even backstage shouldn't be. Okay? Swerve and Ospreay being out of the world title picture, does it hurt? It does. To an extent. The reason why I say extent is because you have this gauntlet match where we all picked MJF, highly favored. MJF, his first world title reign was memorable. It was a historic title reign. And could he have another one? Yes. Could MJF go and win the world title and hold that belt until next July if he would win it, let's say, in September at All Out? Yes, he could. Okay? You also have guys like a Darby Allin that are coming back that could go after the world title. You have John Moxley, who can continue his reign for another 6 months. You have guys that can cover and challenge for that world title for up until next July. To the point where Swerve and Ospreay, if they were to lose this match and be out of the world title picture for a year, it would hurt to a slight extent because of how hot they are right now. But do you really think Swerve and Ospreay would cool down if they lost this match? No.
In terms of popularity, no. Not at all.
And they wouldn't cool down, period.
Yeah, no.
They wouldn't. So, Mike, if the Bucks win this, I'm done because that's dumb. That'll tell me Max ain't losing till 2026. God, please, no, not another 6 months. The thing is, again, would they lose their popularity? No. Would they lose any steam? I don't think so. I don't. And you have other championships that you can put these. I mean, Ospreay and Swerve, they make a great tag team.
Yeah.
They can go feud with the Hurt Syndicate.
It can literally, I see your points in some instances. It can literally be a whole story with Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland of them like strictly not being in the world title picture. That can cause some tension between the two. They can go at it. They can do something. They can still be a tag team, what have you. I mean, if there is anything that I will give AEW is that AEW does have depth.
They do.
They do. So I mean, I see your points.
That's why points with it. That's why I feel like them losing would not hurt at all. It would not hurt. And there's other championships that they can go win and help elevate. The TNT title. What's Adam Cole doing for that championship right now?
Yeah, no, nothing.
Nothing. He's not doing anything. And we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about him and Kyle Fletcher in a moment. But if Kyle Fletcher wins, what do you think Kyle Fletcher is going to do for the TNT title? Nothing. What would Ospreay do for the TNT title?
They do it. Yeah.
Hey, but that's the thing is they would elevate those championships. The unified title. They would be able to elevate that championship. The tag team titles. I mean, them and the Hurt Syndicate in, let's say, a 3-month story would be fucking epic.
Yeah.
Like, those two right there would be epic to the point where you can look at that matchup and say, I could see this being the first ever main event tag team match on an AEW pay-per-view. I'm not saying that they would do that, but I'm saying It looks like it could be a main event on a pay-per-view, on a TV special like what show were we talking about earlier? The one they do out in New York,
the Grand Slam event. Yeah,
Grand Slam. You know, Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen if they did it. You know, Beach Bash, a special event.
Any special AEW Dynamite, for sure. But with everything that's happening now, you can definitely do something with Ospreay and Swerve. I mean, heck, even Ospreay was an international champion. You know, before he was, you know, the international champion, even though it was only for a couple of weeks or a few weeks. Still, technically a mid-card title in AEW. I mean, it's to me, I still think of it as like, well, hopefully you can make this like a whole intercontinental championship type deal, like the second biggest title in your company. But the international title was still a mid-card title. And Will Ospreay was a champion for a couple of weeks with that title. So, I mean, you have stuff for them to do. I just don't think you should have him off the title picture.
You could have Ospreay. You can have Ospreay renew his feud with Kenny Omega for the unified title. You can have Swerve feud with Okada if Okada won the championship. Swerve and Omega feud for the unified title. Like, there's so much depth and so much room to play with if they were to lose this match and lose world title contendership for a year. You know, and that's my point. Would I want it to happen? Realistically, no. Would I want Ospreay and Swerve to lose that 1 year of going after a world title? No. But at the same time, you can build them up even more than they're already at. You can get these guys beyond the limits that they're at right now until they get... Hell, what if they did something like this? And this is the last question, then we're going to move on. But imagine this, and this is just me kind of playing around with this idea. Let's say they lose, and they go 1 year without challenging for the world title. We get to All In next year, right? And let's say All In, and I gotta look at the calendar for a second here because I want to jump up to July of 2026. Okay, July 2026, and I did it on my phone because it takes me pretty quick to get there. Okay, so let's say All In was on July 11th, which is a Saturday next July. Okay, say All In was July 11th. Okay. And well, July 12th would be the full calendar year. So let's say All In was July 18th. Well, let's say All In was July 18th, okay? Because they have to surpass the 1 year. Okay. And going into All In, something happens to where the world title is vacated. and we end up getting the main event of Ospreay against Swerve for the world title.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
I mean, if anybody if anybody deserves to get a world title after all that year of waiting, you can do something with that for sure. And as of right now, All In 2026, it does not have a date yet. So, I mean, you can.
But I'm just saying, say All In is on July 18th next year, and something happens to where the world title becomes vacant, let's say at Double or Nothing. Like, let's say something happens to where the world title becomes vacant after Double or Nothing, and Swerve and Ospreay are coming up on that 1 year, and then let's say there's a tournament for the world title, and because their 1 year will be up on July 12th, they're eligible to be in the tournament because the finals would be past July 12th. And they battle through the tournament on opposite sides, and then it just comes down to them on July 18th at All In for the world title.
Yeah.
Now the two guys,
brackets, yeah.
Now the two guys who lost title contendership for that 1 year are battling out for the world title.
Now they're battling it for the title. Yeah, no, and you can totally. The commentary alone would tell such a beautiful story between those two, having them to fight all the way throughout the year just to get to a world title match in the end. Hell, I mean, look, I know some pay-per-views happen on Sundays for AEW. Imagine the last day, the last day of them being like in contention of like, you know, being in the world title picture. Like they just go to Tony and it's like, look, Tony, it's our last day.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, for the hell of it. And he's like, all right, you're good to go. Do it. Some freaking motorcycle gang on the outside of my window. Sorry about that.
I thought it thundered because it's storming here right now. So
no, it's motorcycle people.
Let's move on.
Yeah, it could be a great story for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So we'll have to see what happens. We got 4 matches to talk about. Yeah, TNT title, Adam Cole defending against Kyle Fletcher. Cam has Kyle Fletcher winning this one and becoming the new TNT champion. Who do you got in this one, Phil?
I got Kyle. Look, I feel like we say this every single time when it comes down to the TNT championship, but it's a broken record at this point. You gotta do something different with this title. Look, you gotta do something different with this title. And to me, I'm not just saying that for the sake of getting somebody new with the championship. That's not what I mean. Having a new champion, to me, doesn't mean that they're doing something new with the championship.
Yeah.
To me, what they're doing something new with the championship means, like, present it in a different way. Do something in a different way to like where you can actually make this title seem more important than what it already is. Because at the end of the day, this championship importance and the way that it just feels on television is nothing. It's probably one of the most, if not the most unimportant title in the entire company.
I mean, I remember when we got introduced to the TNT title, they were like, oh, this is going to be our television title. It's going to be defended each week on television. That way you're guaranteed to have a championship match on television each week. And then it just became a pay-per-view title. And then it became a throwaway title.
There was a reason why Cody was doing those open challenges.
Because it was their TV
during that
title.
time. It was a TV title, and at the end of the day, it was really helping people during the pandemic era get on television and get noticed and get eyes on the product. So, I mean, there was a reason why stuff like that was happening. But, like, if Kyle Fletcher does win this championship, first of all, I'm going to be happy for Kyle, because Kyle, regardless of however you may feel with him and the Don Callis family, or just how you perceive him in general, he has worked his butt off to get to do stuff within this company. But every single time we talk about this championship, it just feels so irrelevant and forced.
I just don't have the confidence in Kyle Fletcher right now to even hold this championship, even with this championship not having the importance that it does. That's why I'm going with Adam Cole to retain. Like, this could be the kickstart. This could be the Kickstarter match for Adam Cole with this championship, and then move forward with him as champion and do something important. Maybe him defend the title each week or every other week on TV. This could be that Kickstarter, but I just do not have the confidence in Kyle Fletcher right now. I don't. to put this championship on him. I feel like it would just be for the sake of putting the title on him, and that's that. It would have no importance. You know,
I see it.
Is this going to be a good match? Yeah, it's going to be a good match. But the championship is what's kind of dead weighting right now.
Right.
You know, going from that TV title style championship to being absolutely irrelevant in a sense. You know, it's Cam's bathroom break.
One of the last true real TNT champions and like an actual TNT championship title reign that I liked was Miro.
Oh,
like, that was like one of the last true TNT championship title reigns that I can remember and that I was actually fully invested in. You had Wardlow get the championship for a second time, and he did hold it for like over 100 some odd days or whatever. But like that didn't feel the same to me. So like to me, the last true real champion for the TNT title was Miro, and it hasn't come close since.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Especially with the flip flopping of the title, like from like 37 days, 11 days, 40 some odd days. Like, I mean, during that time before Miro finally won the title, it's just
even after Cody lost it the first time, it's like it went back to Cody, went to Sammy Guevara, went to Miro, went to Darby, went to Wardlow, went to this guy, went to that guy, and it's just the flip flop.
Scorpio Sky held it for 38 days.
I mean, like, there you go. I mean, you know, Unified Championship, Kazuchika Okada. He's representing the Continental Championship against Kenny Omega, who's the current international champion. Cam is taking Kenny Omega in this one. Who do you got, Phil?
I got Kenny. Wow, Cam and I are kind of like on the same wavelength for a lot of these. But yeah, I just think Kenny's got to get the title. Either one of these two getting the Unified Championship is going to be a great stance for it.
Yeah.
But with everything that's happening right now between these two and for this championship, though you can't go wrong with either one of these two getting the title, Kenny Omega being the first ever unified champion would just be a nice little icing on the cake, especially with everything that's happened between Kenny and Okada so far. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with Kenny, and hopefully AEW, if they truly want to make this like a quote unquote second world championship in the title in the hierarchy of the company, you better have a goddamn plan with it, because if you don't,
we sparked something. We sparked something. We did something because we did something to spark him. You know, he's here.
That could either be a good thing or a bad thing.
I'm not going to interrupt
something
the flow.
I said.
I want you to get through the rest of the predictions, because I want to loop back around to a conversation that is the reason why I'm on this particular program tonight. So.
Okay.
Oh no.
So Cam, so you're just backing up. You're letting us do our thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you still want me to shout out your predictions like I've been doing? And
well, I'm here now. I can say my own.
You can talk. I think maybe, right?
Okay. I mean, I already said that you picked Kenny for this match. I was going to go Kazuchika Okada for this. Reason being is because we see Okada more on TV than we see Kenny Omega. Which means you have a new championship that you're bringing out. You're presenting TV, all that stuff. But at the same time, I feel like Kenny Omega winning this championship is going to give you some more high-profile matches to boost this championship. It's a 50-50 thing with this title right now.
Yeah,
it is. I'm going Kenny Omega. I am, because I'm a fan of Kenny. I want Kenny to win this match, so I'm going Kenny Omega.
I would say either way you go with whoever wins this, you're going to add that importance to this championship if you're trying to make it your secondary or your another world title or whatever.
I hope that honestly isn't the case, though. Like, I don't want this to be like an actual second world title in the company.
It won't.
One is enough.
The thing I don't like about it the most is based off what Tony Khan had to say, and it was based off this championship in regards to this title. And it's the fact that the international and the continental championship are not necessarily going to be retired. So whoever wins this match between Okada or Omega can have the option to carry all 3 titles if they so choose to, which is dumb. What is the point of calling it the unified championship if you're carrying around the other 2 titles that are no longer being defended? That makes no sense.
Did he say that during the media call?
Yes.
Okay. I might have to go back and look, and I might have to go back into the actual archive and listen to how he said that, because if he actually said it that way, oh man.
Now again, another thing on that, again, on to the whole prestige and trying to make this another world championship. Again, I don't think that's going to happen because, like I said, the world title is the world title. That like the prestige on that is not going to be diminished unless, I don't know, you have it in a briefcase or something. I did hear that, Phil. Yeah, that was
the freaking motorcycles again.
Well, yeah, so I mean, unless you carry around the actual world championship in a duffel bag or something like that, and you're purposely trying to diminish it and bring down its prestige, it's kind of hard to again diminish the prestige that the AEW World Championship has. Right. This prestige on this championship is only going to mean as much as it's going to mean on either one of these gentlemen's shoulders around the race or whatnot have you, Okada or Omega, depending on who wins this match. Yeah. My fear then is whoever then beats them for the title, the prestige is gone because they're going to have an amazing match. We already know this. I think this could potentially be the match of the night. This might even overshadow the death match between Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. I don't know. I think this is going to be the match of the night. See, and I feel like whoever
could
let's say, and I don't even have anything against Mark Briscoe, but let's say Mark Briscoe beats Kenny Omega. That's wild to even think about. But yeah, Mark Briscoe beats Kenny Omega for the unified championship. That title's not going to mean anything. That's just going to be another Ring of Honor title, essentially.
That's why I said that. Like, let's just say, for example, the Young Bucks do win the tag team match, and Ospreay and Swerve, lose their championship contendership for the world title for the year. You can bring back the Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, feud and have that going for 3-4 months. Because we know I still believe they have to have their rubber match in AEW. I think it's still 1-1. I don't think they've had their rubber match yet. No. So you can, to keep the importance of the unified title, even if you're going to take it off Kenny Omega and put it on somebody like Will Ospreay, you'll still have that importance of the championship. But again, if you put it on somebody like a Mark Briscoe, and I love Mark Briscoe, don't get me wrong, love the guy. I wish he would still be the Ring of Honor World Champion today. But if you were to put it on somebody of his status, then you're diminishing. But if you put it on somebody like a Swerve, like an Ospreay, like a Darby Allin, like an MJF, then you're still building the prestige of the championship and still trying to get it up to where it needs to be.
The prestige and the overall importance of this championship is however you want to make it. At the end of the day, if you want to have these high-profile guys be involved with this championship, so be it. That's only going to help the importance and the prestige of this title even more. Yeah. But you can't just say that it's going to be a secondary world championship within this company and then just have it go to just some random Joe Schmo from Idaho. You got to do something important with the title.
Stealing my line.
See, there you go. I was trying to actually remember it as I went along, but I figured
got
it
out. Got it.
So, but what the hell happened? You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
I just can't see.
Okay.
Turned your camera off.
I didn't even touch anything on my keyboard. There you go. If I can get back, maybe.
You're good for a second.
Nope. Now it's just a black screen.
Now you're good. Now you're good.
You guys can see me?
I mean, kind of. We could see you, but you're still framed. You're
not.
He's like side view. He disconnected. So, but yeah, that's what I mean. Is it's going to be all. It's going to be who matters on winning that championship from whoever wins the title and keeping the prestige of the championship going. That's what it's going to be. Because again, if they put it on somebody who's not somebody who can be a main eventer or even a co-headliner, for example, let's go back into the day when Cody was the TNT champion. Okay, that was their secondary championship at that time. Okay, so if it was a pay-per-view, then let's say the TNT title was the co-headliner. It was on before the main event, right? That's what you want to have to build the prestige of this championship. So you're going to want those guys that could be the headliner, the main event, or whatever. You're not going to have somebody like even Adam Cole today would not be in that position.
No,
he wouldn't be.
Adam Cold, baby.
So, but we'll have to see. We have 2 more matches to talk about. I'm going to throw this right out there for you guys. Normally Wikipedia, they have the match cards up and they usually go in the order that it's on them with Wikipedia, which is crazy. And I asked the question to you guys last week about what match you feel should main event, or match do you think should it be the women's world title? Should it be the men's world title? On Wikipedia right now, they have the women's world title main event in this pay-per-view. That's what they have right now. Okay? But we're going to talk about the women's world title first, because I'm going to jump to the assumption that the world title is main eventing. That's that. Toni Storm defending the AEW women's world title against Mercedes Moné. Cam, I got your prediction, but do you want to say yours first?
Yeah, I got Mercedes. Again, they have just been, no pun intended, all in on Mercedes Moné. I don't know. Again, I said this before. I think I said it last week. I don't know where that's leading. I don't know what all this is for. Is all this for nothing? Is all this just to prove that she's better than anybody and everybody in AEW and in that women's locker room? I don't know. I don't know what all this is leading to, because ultimately I feel like it'll fall flat on its face if it doesn't go somewhere interesting, because right now she's just dominating and beating everybody and every other company and holding their championships and then traveling the globe with their title and whatnot have you. So I have no idea. I don't know where that's going. I mean, that's great for her, but I don't know what that really means for the women's division. I think it's hurting the women's division. I think it's going to hurt the women's division even further if she holds both the mid-card title and the women's world title at the same time, because again, that is the very definition of backing yourself into a corner, because now you got to figure out, Ruh-roh Raggy, how are you going to get both titles off of Mercedes Moné? We don't know, because there's literally nobody left, or at least it feels like there's nobody left. I know we talked about them bringing back Camille. They have done everything to put a blanket over Camille and make her disappear. Now she's on freaking American Gladiators, and again, she's probably only on that show because she has nothing else to do, because they're not booking her on AEW. So I don't know. I don't know who's left. I don't even know who is a realistic opponent for this, belt collector Thanos Mercedes right now. I don't know.
Bill, who do you got?
I got Mercedes. To me at this point in AEW, it's death, taxes, and Mercedes Moné wins.
Damn.
It's been how it's happened since she's arrived in this company. So I mean, look, and until I see AEW turn a corner and turn a blind eye, this woman's gonna win everything. And with everything that is happening right now, it's 100% a detriment to the women's division if Mercedes Moné does hold both of the championships. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything here with this. It's a bad decision, but it's just a matter of Tony Khan wanting to do what Tony Khan wants to do. And he just wants to have Mercedes not only beat Jade Cargill's record for that TBS championship, but also have her be a world champion in the company as well. So, yeah, Mercedes is winning everything up until the point where she just doesn't want to win anymore. And that's that.
I think you got to have Mercedes take a pinfall loss to somebody, and I've been saying it for months now that Toni Storm is the hottest thing in AEW. I don't think Toni Storm loses this match. I think Toni Storm walks out with the AEW Women's World Championship. Mercedes ain't walking out with everything. You got to have her lose and get her shoulders pinned, or have her tap out. Something. Even if you have Mercedes lose this match, you're not losing momentum with her. You're not losing the whatever the fuck you're trying to do with her. You're not losing it
for the titles.
I mean, yeah, you're not losing anything with. You're not losing really anything with either of these women losing, but I feel like if you do have Toni Storm lose, then the women's division is just going to be handcuffed. It's going to be on lockdown, and it's going to hurt the women's division. If this title ends up on Mercedes Moné, I feel like it's going to hurt the women's division deeply. Deeply. With Toni Storm being the women's world champion right now, at least you have options. You have directions you can go with it, and you can create something. With Mercedes, it's like you see her come on TV and it's like, she's winning. So what's the fucking point of having this match? I think Toni Storm wins. I think Toni Storm walks out with the world title. I want
to mention one more thing about possibly Mercedes winning this championship. Earlier on, with the casino gauntlet match talk, I was talking about how Chris Statlander can do something and be the winner of this thing.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I mean, we still only have 2 real singles matches between Mercedes and Chris. If it happens in the way that I think, and Mercedes wins the title and Chris wins the championship, they can do the 3rd match for the title. I mean, that to me, I get like it's kind of like a little bit of a stretch there, but Chris and Mercedes, Chris has been one of the best opponents for Mercedes ever since she's really come on into the company, in my eyes, and you can build to something with that. I'm just saying. But we'll see in due time.
Like I said earlier, with Chris Statlander, you got to start doing something with her. Does that necessarily mean it has to be the Women's World Championship? No. It could be the TBS title. If Mercedes and her are going to have that rubber match or that 3rd match, that 3rd match, Chris Statlander can win the women, boost Chris Statlander up with winning the TBS championship. Why not? Doesn't necessarily have to be the women's world title. But if Chris Statlander wins this, obviously she's going after the women's world title. How much more of a boost would it be for her to go in and beat Toni Storm for the women's world title, opposed to a Mercedes Moné? How much more of an importance would it be for Chris Statlander to beat Toni Storm opposed to Mercedes? Mercedes right now, we know she's invincible. I get that. And if she won the women's world title, then okay, that's that. I feel like it'd be a lot more important for Chris Statlander to beat Toni Storm opposed to Mercedes Moné.
See,
and that's fair.
I disagree with that because I feel like Chris could beat Toni, but the buzz or the boost from that would only last but so long. Her beating someone like Mercedes, who you see all of everything she has right now, that would boost her up that much longer. I think. I don't know. That's just me. I get it. Toni is. I'm not even disagreeing with you. Toni is the best thing, the hottest thing right now in AEW, not just the women's division, but Toni can. I mean, it's not going to hurt Toni. Toni's going to bounce back. But Mercedes right now is built up so much to where she's just this freaking, this freaking Thanos. Right.
Like,
she's untouchable. She's built up to be like she's like freaking invincible right now.
Yeah.
That when you finally she has this shield of armor that now if you can leave a crack in it, it's like, oh my God, Mercedes Moné just lost the TBS championship. We didn't think that was going to happen ever. There's so much more buzz. There's so much more boost. Toni can be like the next week. Toni can be like, okay, and still be as popular as she was without the title. She could challenge Mercedes Moné for the TBS Women's Championship. Like it's not going to hurt her. It needs to be something that's going to like shock everybody, and it's going to like rock Mercedes and be like, oh, she's not invincible like we thought she was, and whatever else. It will boost Chris so much more, I think, if she would have beat Mercedes, because right now nobody's beating her. So
the thing
Don,
with Mercedes.
Don, can you elaborate on your comment, please, saying about they should left a nobody hold it for a while? What are you talking about as far as are you talking about a championship?
I think what he means a championship. I think what he means by that is someone who's not really who has really made a name for themselves, or they have been pushed to the main event scene much. You know what I mean? So I think that's what he means. Not necessarily a nobody, but like
I just have a feeling right now that if with any championship in AEW right now, if they were to put any championship on a nobody, it wouldn't help them. Like I think right now, like the world title, whether it's on Hangman, whether it's on Jon Moxley, it's going to help them. Whether the women's world titles on Tony Storms or Mercedes Moné, it's going to help them. Unified Championship, Okada, Omega, help them. But then you get down to the TNT title, Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher. It's not like right now, neither of them is going to help boost that. They would need to get the TNT title on somebody that's going to help them that. They need to get back to where the championships, all their championships are on people that are going to help boost. And putting the championships on a nobody right now, I don't think would help anything, further anything. Because AEW right now, again, there's a lot of negativity is swerving around AEW right now, especially in the IWC. Like, if you're going to catch the attention and the fandom of the IWC, then you want to start making things matter and making things count. And that goes along with your championships. Like, you look in WWE right now, and I know this is a very bold comparison because WWE is far few and beyond what AEW is today. But you look at the champions over in WWE. Gunther's the world champion. John Cena's the world champion. Your mid-card champions are Dominic Mysterio, who's one of the biggest heels in WWE right now. United States champion is Solo Sikoa. Your tag team champions, your women's champions. Like, pretty much almost every champion in some extensive purpose has matter and meaning. AEW, when you get to their lower mid-card championships, it's like, but you get to the world titles, and even the unified title, those three championships, it's like, okay, either of these people coming out of Saturday makes sense. But then you get down to that TNT title, the tag team titles, it's like now you're kind of, pushing those lines a little bit. You get those championships on somebody that's important and somebody that's going to help boost them. Start catching the attention of the fan. So, Jon Moxley, Hangman Page, Texas death match for the AEW World Championship. Cam, who are you going with?
It's Jon Moxley, unfortunately. I don't want to get my hopes up. I'm not going to hold my breath. It's the same thing with when Jon Moxley fought Samoa Joe in a steel cage match. Everybody was sitting there going, it could be Samoa Joe. We think of Samoa Joe. Da, da, da. I refused to sit here and hold my breath and think that Samoa Joe was going to win that championship. And like I said, Jon Moxley keeps winning. He keeps retaining these championships, this championship, in the most ridiculous fashion humanly possible.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to sit here and fathom who could possibly interfere that has no connection to either one of them and help Moxley retain. Who knows? I have no idea what rabbit they're going to pull out of the hat next. I have no idea, but like I said, I just don't. If it's not Hangman, then it 110% has to be Darby Allin. The asterisk next to that, though, is that I have to wait until September, and that extends this Moxley reign that I hate so much to wait for that to happen. So, and if it's not Darby, then the sky is falling. I don't know what's going on. So,
Phil, who do you got?
You guys have known my stance for this championship for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. I am going and I am sticking with Hangman Adam Page to win this freaking championship. And
I hope you're right.
And look, man, I know, with everything that is the world title picture right now, I've said this phrase on this show many weeks in a row now, is Hangman Adam Page or bust. And I'm not going to completely just go and repeat myself over and over again because I've said it throughout the entire catalog of the show. But if you're having MJF win this championship opportunity in the gauntlet, and you have Hangman Adam Page win the championship in the main event, and you do this whole WrestleMania 40 type moment where you have the Cowboy finally win the championship after everything that he's been through in Texas. You do the damn thing. You can make something out of this, and you can do an MJF Hangman story that they have been teasing. They were teasing it. They had a couple of matches here and there, but you can do something with the World Championship between those two. You can honestly, like, that's a first ever story. That's the first story that you can do right there. You have other opportunities. You can do Darby Allin. You can have everything happen with them. It's got to be Hangman Adam Page. And like the whole story of the Cowboy going into Texas, saving AEW, saving the AEW World Championship, a story that honestly could have happened years ago in the past, happens this year, or it doesn't happen at all. And that to me would just be a huge disservice to how Hangman Adam Page has grown over the course of the last couple of years or a few years. It would be a huge disservice to the championship. It would be a huge disservice to just what the fans want. Tony, if you're a man of the fans, if you want the fans to be on your side, you give Hangman Adam Page this championship, and you just allow them to be happy for this one moment in time and space. You allow us to be happy that Hangman Adam Page is a world champion and Jon Moxley is simply not. So I'm going with Hangman, and I'm sticking with it. And if I'm wrong, I'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll say it. I'm wrong. And then I'll just have to wait until Darby wins the title. And even then, I don't even think that it's going to be as big of a moment as many people want it to be.
Bill, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but Jon Moxley's winning.
I don't want it, dude.
Jon Moxley's winning.
You guys are sending bad mojo my way, and I don't like it.
Here's the thing: is it's a Texas death match. Anything goes. Anybody can get involved. We know the Ops is going to get involved. We know the Death Rider is going to get involved. There is one differential in this match that is going to play a big part in this thing, and that is one Marina Shafir. She needs to get her payback for the buckshot lariat. She's going to make the difference. Jon Moxley's retaining. It's as simple as that. You're not going to see the whole slip up of her accidentally hitting Mox with the briefcase or the belt or a chair or a whoopee cushion or anything like that.
Do something with her tonight, then. I don't care. Like, don't do it in the match, because if you're doing it in the match,
it's going to be in the match. You're going to have what I'm going to call this right now.
Company is screwed.
I'm going to call this right
in
now.
Terms of the eyes of the fans.
I'm going to call this right now. Jon Moxley's going to be in the middle of the ring, turns around, Hangman goes for the buckshot, Moxley moves, and on the other end of the ring is going to be Marina Shafir with that briefcase, and it's going to hit Hangman. He's going to turn around. Jon Moxley hits his DDT finisher, and that's going to be the end of it. Moxley retains, still AEW World Champion. Let's see how close I get.
This entire championship division is cursed. This entire the eyes of the company, the eyes of the fans, with everything with the world title is just going to be one of the worst titles. It's definitely one of the worst title reigns that I've seen for the AEW World Championship. And if they just continue on with this thing, it's gonna be a huge downfall for everything. And if Darby is truly the end all be all for this goddamn championship, it's not going to be as important as people want it to be. And it's just not going to feel as big as as many people want it. Darby Allin finally winning a world championship is not going to mean much to me.
There's one man. There's one man we are forgetting about that's been out for a while, and he is kind of due to come back. One man that is claimed to make sure that Jon Moxley loses the AEW World title, and that's one Orange Cassidy.
Okay, so
Orange Cassidy is not even in my mind at this point right now.
Based off what I read about him, is that there's the whole fear about him coming back or whatever, because he tore his pec or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect him back for a while, honestly. So
when did he do it?
I don't remember.
Like, I mean,
been a
it's
while.
obviously been months.
It's been a while. Yeah, like I said, I honestly don't expect him back at all this summer of 2025 at all. So, yeah.
If just anybody, I'm just waiting for the return on it's Eddie Kingston. But
He's been rehabbing.
I know he's been rehabbing. That whole
gosh.
broken leg situation was huge. But like
March.
I mean, I thought it could have happened during
March,
Anarchy in the Arena. It didn't happen then.
March.
He tore his pec back.
So
he
April,
tore it in
May,
March.
June, July. So he's been out 4 months. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Orange Cassidy came to mind, but that's all we got. That's all we got for predictions. That's all the matches. Social medias. Let's shout ourselves out real quick. Cam, your socials on the bottom. What do you want to let the people know as I cover you up? I'm going to move you.
First off, the reason I came on this program.
Oh no, that's right.
I'm sticking to my guns about the whole Ospreay and Swerve thing. Now, I get what you're saying about the whole unified title thing or whatever, if they were taken out of the world title picture or whatever. But I'm still sticking to what I'm saying because, again, like I said, once Omega or Okada loses that title, it's not going to mean much outside of their feud, outside of their whole little storyline right now. And again, it's a massive mistake. You take out you have probably, I don't know, 5 of your like top or elite, no pun intended, stars right now who are consistently booked well and consistently booked in the main event scene, who are always or mainly surrounding around the world championship. You take Ospreay and Swerve out of that equation, tells me it tells me 2 things in the same show. Because if that match happens before the world title match, which I would assume it is going to, again, it tells me Hangman's not winning, because why would you have Hangman win the world title and then take out his greatest nemesis he's had the entire time, other than probably CM Punk, and you saw how that ended, but other than CM Punk, in Swerve Strickland, and you're telling me you're not going to have Swerve Strickland and Hangman and Page for that world title for a year? And that's if Hangman holds the title for a year, which I doubt. No. Right. And then you take out somebody else who he had probably the match of 2025 with for the Owen Hart Cup final in Ospreay. You're not going to do Ospreay and Hangman again for the world title? No. I can't see that happening. That's why I said for me it's a shoo-in that they win this match. It's not going to hurt the Bucks. They're still going to be EVPs. The EVP title doesn't mean much anyway, since Tony Khan pretty much runs the whole show. So it's not going to affect anything. But to take them out of the world title picture for a year, nah, that's a big step back.
It's detrimental, man. That's what I feel.
It's so detrimental to me.
That's the thing, though, is just the realm of believability of, like, if the Bucks lose, then it's like they shouldn't be doing executive vice president stuff backstage. They should be away from it. They should be done with it. All that stuff. It's going to be the realm of believability. Are they still going to be doing stuff backstage? Yeah, they will be, even if they lose. That's what I mean, is everybody wants believability of, you want to try and keep your storylines as believable as they can be. And if they lose, then it's like, then we hear back, like, for example, it's like, oh, they lose on Saturday, but then on Tuesday we hear that they signed, the Bucks decided, oh, they found this tag team that they really like, and they're in charge of the tag team division. So they bring this tag team in, they sign them. What the fuck are the Bucks doing with doing EVP stuff if they lost on Saturday? You know what I mean? The realm of believability.
So you just said it. Because personally, I can honestly see this heel run for the Bucks. I feel like it's ending soon. I don't really see what else. There's not really much else to explore with this whole heel run they've been on this far. They started off as like
theme. I missed their old theme.
They started off as this whole heel, EVPs, or we're abusing our power and stuff like that. We're keeping, certain talent that we don't like down, and we're keeping down all the baby faces like that. Now they're going like more a comedy route, like, oh, we're the founding fathers. There's not much else to do, because eventually you're just going to start getting cheered because you're just a comedy act at that point. You're not heels anymore.
They got cheered last week in their hometown.
I'm saying, well, that's that's their hometown. I mean,
that's an anomaly, but I mean, you are going to get cheered.
That's a no-brainer. But But I get what you're saying though. You're eventually going to start getting cheered because again, you're now comedy baby faces. You're not heels anymore. So they lose this match, they go away for a while. They come back, I don't know, they have some whole, they're trying to go on this redemption route or whatever, blah 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 blah, and they go back to being baby faces. Maybe reunite with Kenny Omega. I don't know. Now, again, he beats Okada, becomes the unified champion. They reform the Elite, which was the core three of them, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kenny Omega at the forefront of that, being unified champion with that gorgeous piece of metal around his waist. That looks good to me. I don't know. And like I said, they also need to get back into doing what they do best anyways, which is tag team wrestling, and probably get back into the tag team title picture. I don't know. I'm not saying win the tag team titles, but get back into the tag team picture. Because like I said, the tag team division, we've talked about this in length, is horrendous right now. So,
and I believe we still have to,
would help. So
I believe we still have to get the rubber match between them and FTR for the tag titles. We never got that. What's really funny is FTR lost the tag team title, or no, the Bucks lost the tag team. One of them lost the tag team titles, and they were supposed to go back to storylining with each other and challenge and fight for the title, and it just never happened. So they went away from it. So they got to get back to that at some point. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens Saturday. Definitely. I just think about their own believability. It's like if they're going to lose this match, then I better not hear. Like if they're doing EVP stuff, fine. Don't let us know about it. Keep it under wrap. Because you're going to have some people that are going to think like, again, that Roman believability. Like, why are these guys doing EVP stuff if they're no longer EVPs? They lost this match. What are they doing? Like, why are we hearing news that they're signing some new talent and doing boss stuff when they shouldn't be? You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm going well beyond, I'm overthinking. I know that, but I'm just saying there's fans out there that still have that believability thought. And I don't want those fans to lose that because there's very few far beyond fans that have that. And I don't want them to lose that. A lot of your younger fans have it, you know.
Yeah, in your eyes, them not being EVPs only in the storyline isn't enough. You got to go that step further.
That's what I mean.
And I see that. I definitely do. It's just a matter of what
I think it's just
do.
more so that, like I said, they lose this match and the whole EVP gimmick that they're doing, the whole heel EVP gimmick thing is over. Because why come back on screen after losing this and then go, oh, we your EVPs? No, that's not going to make any sense. You lost. So,
all right, guys. Well, Cam, this is your show, so I'm gonna let you close it out because it just would not feel right if I closed it out, seeing that you are here. So I'm gonna throw out Phil's social medias first. Phil, you go. You go first.
You guys can follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X at PhillyMet _ PhillyMet on the YouTube and Twitch platforms and all that. But look, guys, we got a ton of stuff to look forward to. Okay, today I released my Evolution predictions. On Friday, I'm gonna release another long form type video of talking AEW, talking All In. So you guys will be getting these predictions again, but just my real full thoughts of everything, more than what I already did here. So subscribe to the channel. Doing some short form content. I'm gonna be looking at what happened on AEW tonight, so I can get some short form content out there and just see what honestly kind of happened. That way I can see what they kind of did for this go home show. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too much more important things that happened here.
I looked on Twitter. It's
not good. Not good. Oh no. All right. Well, I still gotta make some content, so it'll be fun regardless. But yeah, just follow me on all the social media platforms. Stay tuned with everything I'm doing, and we'll see you guys after this weekend. Because man, am I gonna be tired.
My turn. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the start of the watch along with me and Cam for Monday Night Raw right here on Rivet City Radio's Twitch. And then for the table spot right after, as we talk about the show after the show, on Off the Top Media's YouTube channel. You can go follow our YouTube channel, the Table Spot RCR, over on YouTube as we record content for you guys. We are doing LFG reactions right now. New video will be posted by Friday that we recorded yesterday. Every Sunday morning, twitch.tv/the podcast. John is making his return. We are going to be highlighting each division starting this week. Don't know what division we're starting with yet this week. I'm going to decide that tonight, and tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, I will post on the X at the Huddle Hub Pod what division we will be highlighting this week. Plus, we'll be talking about all the news coming out of football. And go follow the socials. All the social links are over on the Huddle Hub Podcast Twitch channel. You can just click. The link will be right there. It'll take you right to the socials, even the YouTube. So go check that out. And you can check out past episodes over on the YouTube as well. Cam.
Well, as for me, I had not planned to be a part of this program, but credits to these two gentlemen. They had got me fired up, so I couldn't help myself.
You're welcome.
But as far as me, of course, my socials are on the bottom. Make sure you keep up with Cam's Wrestling Corner on my TikTok page, my main TikTok page. I am going to be doing my Evolution 2 predictions very soon, so stay tuned for that. Again, like I said, keep up with me and Mike as best as you possibly can on the networks. We have got a lot of content coming out. Very busy weekend coming up. So we're going to try to cover as much of that as humanly possible for you guys and get that content out to you guys as well. And then, yeah, like what Mike had said about the Monday Night Raw watch along next week. So stay tuned for that, for the Table Spot. And of course, the Table Spot after that. We'll be back here next Wednesday talking about the fallout for Dynamite. And of course, I guess giving our results for AEW All In, which is happening this Saturday afternoon. Yeah. And I said all that to say this. So I love and appreciate all you guys coming by and checking out the stream tonight. As I always say at the end of every stream, love, peace, and prosperity. And we are out.